Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 8 of the anime series Arslan Senki TV, Fuujin Ranbu. For all intents and purposes, the season finale. Only 8 episodes in, I'm still scratching my head over that one. Why we only got 8 episodes, I have no idea, unless I guess they wanted to begin a 3rd season or something like that, you know, picking up with the beginnings of this new arc, this new direction in the story that is finalized by Arslan by the end of this episode, effectively, you know, taking to heart Etoile's words, begging him to go to Ecbatana and save Innocentus from Geesgard, and, you know, her promises, though she is not really in a position high enough to make promises that mean anything, that carry any weight, she assures Arslan she will appeal to Innocentus and she will get the Lusitanians who are yet remaining in Ecbatana to just up and leave and give back what they've stolen. And there will be, you know, a peaceable outcome. Of course, we know that is not, you know, it's easier said than done because there are so many other players on the field that are ramping up to basically go on the attack by the end of this episode. You have Andragoras amassing his Parsian troops to go take back Ecbatana with a much more bloodthirsty outcome on his horizons. You have some of his men. I thought it was quite interesting. You know, Kubard has decided to stay, and yet he still has his, you know, curiosities about what Arslan will be able to accomplish. And some of the other men, Kishward and some of the men under him, are also voicing concerns for what's been going on, the internal turmoil of the royal family and what that all means. And could Arslan, in fact, not be blood relation? Could it be that he walks, you know, sort of on his own, you know, apart from what all the spells that have been cast over this family, this greedy, bloodthirsty family who has, you know, many a time over killed their own for ultimate power and greed. And I mean, that sort of soul corruption, you know, could Arslan be untouched by this if that's the truth? And so you have people on the inside of Andragoras' own faction who are questioning that. And of course you have Silver Mask Hedimus finally retaining the Ruknabad sword, you know, this sort of great sort of omen and power and significance in that the, you know, it should only be ever held by the ruler of, you know, the whole Parsian thing, you know, that whole scope, that whole grand design. And he believes he is the one who is truly meant for it. He still, you know, basically proffers this idea after reclaiming the sword from Bodin, that this sword will be integral into, you know, his reclaiming of the throne, basically dispatching Andragoras, dispatching Arslan, anyone who stands in the way of his rightful, you know, being an heir to that seat, to that throne. And so all of these different characters are fully and you know, full-fledgedly put into the positions that will give us this brand new direction for this story. They are all marching on Ecbatana. They all have their wants and their desires. And only Arslan and Arslan's people really have the most noble sort of outlook, the idea of peace, of creating equality. And I think my favorite aspect of this episode was Arslan's basically putting the gauntlet down, that if his ideals and his goals should intercede and be blocked and run, you know, sort of into basically like, you know, his father becomes the antagonist, his father is against them, his father's reign and what his desires are, they conflict. Well, then Arslan is ready to take on his father. And this was a tipping point, a turning point in the story that I have long awaited, and I didn't know that we would reach it this soon. And it's kind of convenient that we end up with that as the cliffhanger, you know. I don't know how long it will be before we see a continuation of the story, and I know the story is very lengthy and even goes on beyond, you know, Arslan's whatever success he may have when he is a ruler, when he is a king. But at this stage, this is such a significant turning point in his story, because now we see sort of the culmination, and it's not as though he doesn't have a ways to go yet in a lot of other areas of learning and evolving and growing up and maturing. But this is really a turning point, a culmination of everything we've seen of Arslan as we followed him all the way back from episode 1. he is now confident in his desires, in his own will, in what he wants, you know, the outlook that he sees for the world, for Pars, for Ekbatana, for all of these, you know, warring nations, all of these factions. And it starts with his father, Andragoras. And if there is a conflict, he is now ready, unburdened, because he feels assured and he feels righteous in his goals. But not the kind of righteousness that, you know, a crackpot like Bowden, you know, is spouting off, or even Silvermask himself. I mean, all of these characters have a level of believing they are the righteous, they are the right, they are the good. Their, you know, outlook, their goals are, you know, sort of overlaid upon all goals. They should be the highest goals, you know. Arslan, on the other hand, he doesn't have that chip on his shoulder, that greed, that, you know, salacious quality where he will kill all and end all that stands in his way. He is not soul corrupt as all these other characters seem to be. Some of the characters, you know, some more than others, have hope and have a hopeful quality, have good within them. Silvermask is one that I have hoped we would see a turning point in his character. We would see, you know, a leveling of the playing field between he and Arslan, and maybe a kinship, maybe some kind of peace, you know, peaceful outcome between them as well. And I don't know that that will ever happen. I don't foresee that happening. It seems as though, you know, the chips on the shoulders of characters like Andragoras and Silvermask are irremovable, and they will cause conflict, and Arslan will have to butt heads with them. And Arslan will probably, and it will be the best case scenario for him to be the victor of all. And this is really where we set up that next chapter, you know, the beginnings of that next chapter in, of all things, the 8th episode finale of Season 2, Fuujin Ranbu. And so, yeah, I'm excited eventually to see where the story goes. Who knows if I'll cover it in the future. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I'll definitely be curious to watch it, though, and see what happens. And, yeah, so onward and upward for Arslan and his gang. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.